My name is Alina Ward. I am 42 years old, and until last winter, I believed my life was balanced. Not perfect, but stable. My husband, Marcus Ward, was not romantic in a dramatic way. He didn't write poetry or surprise me with spontaneous trips, but he paid bills on time. He remembered my appointments. He locked the doors twice before bed. Safety, that's what he represented. And safety feels like love when you are younger. The diagnosis came on a gray Tuesday afternoon. I remember the exact color of the walls in the hospital corridor, pale blue, almost cold. The doctor's voice was steady, but her eyes softened before she spoke. That softness told me everything before her words did. Stage 3. Aggressive. Treatable, maybe. She talked about timelines, percentages, clinical terms. But the only word that echoed inside my skull was limited. Limited time. Limited strength. Limited future. I didn't scream. I didn't collapse. I walked out of the hospital calmly, drove home, and rehearsed how to say it. Marcus was setting the table when I entered. The house smelled like rosemary chicken. Normal life continued. "Hey," he smiled, "you're late." I stood there for a moment, longer than usual. And then I told him. He didn't interrupt. He didn't blink. He listened until I finished. Then the plate in his hand slipped. It shattered on the kitchen floor. And he cried. Not quiet tears. Heavy ones. He wrapped his arms around me, so tightly I could barely breathe. "I won't lose you," he whispered. That night he didn't sleep. I could feel him watching me in the dark. His hand never left mine. At the time, I thought it was love. Now, when I replay that memory, I wonder what else it was. The devotion that felt like control. After my diagnosis, Marcus changed. Not slowly. Instantly. He canceled meetings, sold minor investments, delegated responsibilities at work. His phone stopped ringing as much. He became fully present. Too present. He organized my medications in a labeled weekly box. Morning, afternoon, night, supplements added carefully beside chemotherapy pills. He researched treatments obsessively, printed articles, joined online support forums. "You need structure," he said. He started cooking every meal himself. Smoothies with ingredients I couldn't pronounce. Herbal teas I had never heard of. "You must trust me," he repeated gently. And I did. Because trust had been built over 20 years. But something subtle shifted. He insisted on speaking to my doctors alone sometimes. "He forgets things," he would say. "I need to understand clearly." I began feeling weaker than expected. More tired. More foggy. The doctor frowned during one visit. "Your scans show slight improvement," she said. "But physically, you seem more fatigued than anticipated." I smiled weakly. Cancer is unpredictable. Marcus squeezed my hand. "Yes," he agreed quickly. "She's very fragile." Fragile. That word started appearing often. He told friends I was fragile. He told family I shouldn't be stressed. He told me I needed rest. And slowly, my world shrank to our bedroom. Visitors reduced. Calls filtered. He answered my phone sometimes. "She's sleeping," he'd tell them. But I wasn't always sleeping. Sometimes, I was simply unaware of how long I had been still. One evening, while he showered, I opened the cabinet where he stored my supplements. One bottle felt lighter than usual. I unscrewed it. Inside, the capsules were not uniform. 2 different shades of white. Subtle difference. But different. My heart beat faster. I searched the label online. Same brand. But the ingredient list didn't match. Hidden under a peeled corner of the sticker was another name. A sedative compound. Low dose. Long-term cognitive impact. Not lethal. But weakening. Very weakening. listening to the silence. I didn't confront him. Confrontation requires certainty. I needed proof. So I began observing. I pretended to feel worse. Let my hands tremble slightly when holding water. Spoke slower. Acted confused occasionally. Marcus reacted with concern. But beneath that concern, something else flickered. Relief. He began increasing the supplements. You need stronger support, he explained calmly. I secretly stopped swallowing them, hid them beneath my tongue, disposed of them later. Within days, my mind felt clearer, stronger, which meant the weakness hadn't been only the cancer. One night, unable to sleep, I walked quietly toward the living room. Marcus was on the balcony, phone pressed to his ear. Yes, he whispered. She won't last more than a few months at this rate. My breath froze. The insurance will cover everything. The estate transfers automatically. Insurance. We had life insurance, but not large enough for that tone. The next morning, while he was at work, I searched through his office drawer. There it was. A newly increased policy. Signed 3 weeks after my diagnosis. Beneficiary, Marcus Ward. Amount, significant. Very significant. My hands shook. Not from illness. From realization. But I needed confirmation. I scheduled a private blood test through an old friend who worked quietly in diagnostics. Results came back within 48 hours. Elevated sedative levels. Continuous exposure. Intentional dosage pattern. I stared at the report for a long time. My husband wasn't comforting me. He was accelerating me. Becoming the patient he expected. Fear is paralyzing. But betrayal is awakening. I decided to play the role he believed in. I acted weaker. Let him believe the sedatives were working. He grew more attentive. More affectionate. He began discussing future planning more openly. If something happens, he would say gently, everything will be handled. Something. That vague word. Meanwhile, I contacted a lawyer quietly. All documents were reviewed. Financial irregularities traced. Online supplement company registration investigated. The company was a shell entity. Owner, Marcus Ward. He wasn't just poisoning me. He had created the source. The night before our anniversary, he brought tea into the bedroom. Chamomile. Soft steam rising. Drink, he said. I held the cup. Looked into his eyes. Do you ever think, I asked softly, about what happens if I survive? He froze. Only for half a second. But it was enough. I just want you comfortable, he replied. I placed the cup down. I know, I said. And that was when the doorbell rang. Investigators entered quietly. No shouting. No drama. They showed warrants. Evidence. Bank transfers. Medical tampering. Marcus didn't fight. He simply looked at me. You were already dying, he said calmly. I stepped closer. Yes, I whispered, but you didn't want to wait.